Hi, my name is Sarah, and I was wondering, how do hurricanes affect the environment?
My name is Greg Grandy. I work with the Louisiana Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority as a coastal resources scientist. We're here in Baton Rouge at the Bluebonnet Swamp. The question is, how do hurricanes impact the environment? Hurricanes can have a significantly negative impact on the environment, and it's most profound at the coastline, particularly on barrier islands or headlands or beaches. When that surge comes, the direct wave and wind impact can significantly damage, remove sand from areas, completely reorganize beaches and dunes and ecosystems. In coastal Louisiana, we have some marshes that are called flotant marsh. It's a very thin layer of vegetation that just floats on top of the surface. And what has happened in coastal Louisiana during the passage of some significant storm events is this marsh gets pushed up, and it almost like an accordion, it'll fold up and become compressed. And that area that was like a floating marsh, it's like pushing a carpet across a wood floor, and the carpet ripples up, and an area that had marsh across it before now becomes an open water area. In 1992, Hurricane Andrew came ashore in coastal Louisiana with winds that gusted up to 130 miles an hour. There was significant damage on 70% of the barrier islands in coastal Louisiana, where sand that protected those islands was removed from the islands and lost from the system. In addition to that, a significant amount of our oyster leases in the Barataria and Terrebonne estuaries were covered up with sediment. So these oysters that were productive, these areas that had oysters that were productive had sediment that came in, and the sediment was pushed on top of the oysters, and we had significant impact to the oysters. In addition, we had millions of fish that were killed because of lack of oxygen, where water was moved into areas and oxygen was depleted from some of these areas, particularly in the Atchafalaya Swamp in Louisiana. And that was a significant impact to the environment in Louisiana. In spite of these grim outcomes from hurricanes, the natural environment can actually benefit from hurricanes at the same time. What happens is the storm moves through, and as the surge picks up energy, sediment-laden water will get pushed up with that storm surge, and it'll get pushed up into the marshes and into other wetland areas. Then when the water drains, usually relatively rapidly from these areas, the sediment gets left behind, and that sediment and nutrients that's carried with it will help to nourish marshes in certain areas. Now, a lot of it will depend on the proximity of the storm and the amount of energy and surge that brings that water and that wave near shore. In addition, in mangrove swamps, a storm will serve sort of the same function as a wildfire in other vegetative communities, where it'll come through and clean out a lot of the dead wood and sort of rejuvenate it so that new vegetation can come up in those mangrove swamps. So even though we don't want hurricanes to come and have a significant negative impact to the man-made environment that typically isn't as resilient as the natural environment, there are some benefits. There are some good positives. There is a silver lining that sometimes come with those storms. Wetland areas can also provide a valuable function of reducing that storm surge as it comes ashore. The energy that is being pushed by the hurricane or extratropical system, as that comes ashore, if you've got a wetland area, if you've got a barrier island, that can be your first line of defense, and it starts to absorb some of that energy from the storm and reduce the surge. In addition, if you've got areas that have that are vegetated with cypress trees, that'll also reduce that storm surge as it comes ashore. So if there are valuable man-made assets beyond that, if there are communities or businesses, they'll benefit from having these wetlands that provide that valuable function of attenuating or reducing the storm surge as it comes ashore.